and then subsequent to that...
Marks listens with mounting anxiety. His experience tells him that the bolt was damaged during the crash, not before it. The fracture shows none of the characteristics of fatigue. It has sheared suddenly and cleanly. Years of analyzing metal failure tell him the NTSB is making a terrible mistake in front of the world's press.
I felt it was unfortunate that somebody would make a statement at that particular time, so early in the investigation.
We have found the bolt that holds the engine. As a result of this fracture, the evidence so far indicates that that was the reason the engine came off.
Marks knows that the bolt is not the smoking gun and cannot be responsible for the loss of 191's engine.
It was more like, to me, that it was the result of the accident than it was the cause of the accident.
But Marks's opinion is not shared by all his colleagues. Some still believe that the bolt is the cause. Marks follows his hunch and begins to sift 191's wreckage for himself. He soon discovers another key piece of the pylon assembly, the flange. Close inspection reveals it's damaged. Damage that looks as if it was caused before the crash.
There was something that was mysterious about it. I did not understand it, but I knew that there was something that was wrong and needed to be investigated more in depth.
Could the damaged flange explain why the engine fell off? Marks and the team decide to check 191's service history. They discover that American Airlines serviced the plane just 8 weeks before its fatal flight.
Whenever you have something happen to an airplane where there's been maintenance in the past, you start looking at what was accomplished during that maintenance operation.
Bud Lehner, NTSB head of engineering, visits American Airlines maintenance facility in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He discovers serious irregularities with the way AA carries out the work. In addition to the routine service, American Airlines replaces the bearings that attach the pylons to the wing. To complete the modification, the engine and pylon must be removed from the wing. The plane's manufacturer, McDonnell Douglas, advised the engine to be detached before the pylon is taken off. But American airline engineers have developed a shortcut of removing the engine and pylon as one whole unit, using nothing more sophisticated than a forklift truck. This procedure saves 200 man-hours and thousands of dollars for each of American Airlines' 40 DC-10s.
The airlines, of course, are interested in doing it the quickest and cheapest way possible.
Lowering 6 tons of metal is a delicate procedure. If the forklift truck is in the wrong position, the engine will rock like a seesaw and jam against the pylon attachment points. The forklift operator is guided by hand and voice signals. The position must be perfect, or the operation has the potential to cause damage. Bud Lehner discovers that senior management at Tulsa is not aware of this potential pitfall.
We were a little bit surprised that somebody hadn't observed this operation and thought beforehand that there's a possibility that this is going to cause some damage that could be catastrophic.
The team also discovered that the modification to 191 did not run smoothly. Engineers started to disconnect the engine and pylon from 191's wing, but changed shift at a crucial moment in the procedure. During the handover, the engine and pylon were left supported by the forklift truck. When work resumed, the pylon was jammed against the wing mounts. The forklift was not carrying the load evenly and had to be repositioned before the pylon could be released. Bud Lehner calls Michael Marks at the NTSB labs with the news.
It just like a light bulb went off, and it just all came to me. And so I said, Bud, not only do I think it could have been caused by something striking it, I can prove it.
The flange is on a bulkhead, bolted to a clevis. When the bolt is removed to detach the pylon, the flange can move up against the clevis. Marks looks at the flange again. It's not just cracked, it's also bent, exactly matching the curve of the clevis. Since the flange can only come into contact with the clevis when the bolt is removed, the crack must have been caused during the removal of the engine and pylon for maintenance. Finally, Marks knows why the engine broke away from the wing. He's also uncovered shortcomings in the way the DC-10 is serviced by American Airlines. But Marks is aware that DC-10s are able to fly with just 2 engines.
Airplanes don't crash just because an engine comes off. We've had other engines that have come off and flown away and landed, and nobody gets hurt. There had to be other reasons why this particular accident happened.
The spotlight turns to the pilots. Was pilot error responsible for the crash of 191? Could Lux and Dillard have made a mistake in the heat of the moment? Back in Chicago, the NTSB team are making headway. They find a 1-meter piece of the left wing on the runway, where the engine fell off. The piece has been ripped away from the rest of the wing. It's a significant clue. This part of the wing carries the hydraulic controls for the slats, which are vital for takeoff. The investigators begin to understand what happened. The engine pylon broke away at the weakened flange. The engine swung round the front mount, up and over the wing, ripping out 1 meter of the leading edge, including the hydraulic control. This is crucial information. At takeoff, the slats on the leading edge extend to increase lift. Without the hydraulic system to hold them in place, wind pressure causes the outboard slats to retract. This reduces lift on the left wing, and the plane rolls to the left. The team has made a major breakthrough. But the DC-10 design includes a backup hydraulic system. Although this was also damaged, there was still enough fluid to re-extend the slats. What's more, instruments in the cockpit would warn the pilots that the slats had retracted. So why didn't Dillard re-extend them? The team realized the answer lies in the abrupt ending of the cockpit voice recording.
The takeoff was regular.
The electrical circuit that operates both the voice recorder and the slat warning system was powered by the engine on the left wing.
You've got pitch, speed, altitude, everything seems normal going down to right about there.
When the engine tears away from the plane, both lose power, leaving Dillard with no idea that the slats are incorrectly positioned. But Dillard should still have been able to fly the plane.
He was flying the airplane. He was literally flying it out after the engine came off, after the slats came back.
So did Dillard deviate from the emergency procedure? The flight data recorder shows that when he lost engine 1, Dillard reduces speed to V2, exactly as trained. V2, 283 kilometers per hour, is the aircraft's minimum climbing speed. Dillard was doing everything by the book, yet still the plane crashed. Marks and the investigation team start to question whether the emergency procedures are at fault. As part of any plane development, pilots rigorously test its handling in a variety of situations. But the investigators discover that DC-10 tests never covered a situation where the